Historically, government assassinations are often carried out with a patsy to take the fall, and a professional or team of professionals to execute the target. This ensures success and gives the appearance that there was no conspiracy. It all gets blamed on a mentally disturbed lone gunman. But the alleged would-be Trump assassin was willing to go on a suicide mission. It was an easy shot, and he had at least 5 years of marksmanship training. The independent work of Asget Industries shows how our young suicide assassin could have been the lone gunman. But she is restricted to using the limited information we have gotten. According to the sound analysis of Mike Adams, there were at least 3 shooters.
I think round 1 is probably Crooks. Round 2 is Crooks. Round 3 is Crooks. I think these 3 rounds are Crooks. It's my guess. Rounds 4 and 5 are from the same distance as Crooks, but they are not Crooks. I think rounds 4 and 5, right here. I think rounds 4 and 5 are from a rogue Secret Service team in the building that Crooks was on top of. So that's my guess. Round 6 is from medium range sniper. Round 7 is long range sniper.
Several witnesses that day claimed that there was a second shooter in the water tower.
And I just screamed, it's the sniper, and he was firing down toward the water tower.
That's what we're hearing.
Fox News live streamed the following testimony, but omitted it from final edits.
The fence where the other shooter was, there was one I heard in the water tower, there was one by the fence.
And still, obviously, initial reports.
NBC live streamed the following testimony of a woman who was in the front row.
He could see the sharpshooter behind Trump. He said the sharpshooter shot to the left. He killed the gentleman in the water tower here.
And omitted the following from the final edit.
Now they feel that there was 2 shooters on both sides. So they got the one on the tower on this side, but the one on the right side they never got. So that's why they wanted us to leave immediately, because they thought there's still a shooter out there somewhere. I'm glad that guy's no longer with us anymore in that tower. And I hope they get the other one too.
Images of the water tower show a shadow at the very top. Frame-by-frame analysis shows what could be described as muzzle flash, or the reflection of a scope lens. Before any shots were fired, police were seen running towards the water tower.
Oh wow, where are they running to?
Multiple shooters makes more sense, but then how did they miss? Many are insisting that it was a staged event to inflame Trump's popularity.
We still don't know for sure whether Donald Trump was hit by a bullet, whether he was hit by glass fragments, whether he was hit by shrapnel. We don't have those details. We actually have no details from his physician, even though this man is still a Secret Service protected, and presidential candidate. We knew almost nothing. Why? Why don't we know that much? We don't know why for 9 full seconds Donald Trump was allowed to stand back up during an active shooter situation, even though they at that point had said the shooter was down. How would they have known if there were more shooters or not? Nobody knew that there could have been 5 shooters for all they knew. Yet they allowed him to stand up in the middle of that, crisis and pose for a photo and fist pump the air so he could get the iconic photo. And then they allowed him to stand up again outside of the SUV instead of just shoving him into the SUV. That seems really unusual. What is the actual injury to Donald Trump's ear that's under that bandage? Shouldn't we know that by now?
If it was fake, it was a flawless performance. And if it was authentic, it was not only sloppy, it was a millimeter away from chaos. Either way, Trump is now seen by many religious people as being ordained by God, and by others as being the Antichrist, who believers have been expecting to survive an assassination attempt. Reporting for InfoWars, this is Greg Reese.
All right, hello and welcome. It's Doug Diamond here. Welcome to the Diamond Report Live. We are here once again, 10:05 p.m. on July 21st, 2024. And yes, it's been quite a week yet again, hasn't it? But I found this meme and thought it was pretty funny. It definitely fits right in with the first video. Become an agent of the Secret Service. Now hiring individuals with roofing experience. Yeah. So just keep that in mind if you want to work for the SS. You need roofing experience. And I think there was a video, at least one that I saw, of a cow literally walking on a roof that looks a lot like that. And the cow was able to do it, but apparently it's too dangerous for the Secret Service. So, yeah. Yeah, I thought that was a good one, too. So, anyways, welcome, you guys. It's the Diamond Report Live, and we're going to go through the news a little bit. I think we've got a few things to talk about. Seems like every week that goes by, there's more and more wackiness in the world. So, let's see here. Speaking of wackiness, old Biden drops out. And I guess you know that. But, yeah, that was the buzz today. As reported on Howe's website, July 18th, there's the story. Joe Biden dropped out of the presidential race and will not seek re-election. Hallelujah. Now, if we can only get Trump to drop out, too. No, I'm just joking. But I'm guessing there probably still won't be an election. I could be wrong, of course, but I'm still maintaining that there most likely won't be an election. I think this will probably, just the fact that Biden isn't going to seek re-election and we have no leadership whatsoever, will probably let the Chinese know and whoever else out there that now's a good time to do whatever it is they had planned. So I think we're still going to see a lot of fireworks between now and early November, and even further than that into January for sure. So definitely stay tuned, because it's going to be a wild ride, as they say. The deceitful, lying sleazebags that make up a majority of the Democrat Party have been in chaos since the Biden-Trump debate, because they could no longer hide Biden's deteriorating mental condition, which they intentionally hid from the public for the past 2 years, I would say. And yes, they also pretended that it didn't exist, and acted surprised when everybody knew about it. So craven are the Democrats to keep power, they were willing to engage in elder abuse, ganging up on the poor old man, harassing him out the door of the campaign. I don't give him that much benefit. I know Hal does here, but I personally don't. I don't think he's a poor old man whatsoever. I mean, yes, he's old, but he's certainly not poor. Have you seen the billions and billions and billions of dollars, it might as well be, that he's gotten illegally, ill-gotten gains from all these various governments across the world, certainly millions. And yeah, I don't think he went into that as the victim. Maybe it's just me. It ought to be interesting to see who these power-hungry vermin try to promote as their candidate for president now that we're less than 100 days from the election. I suggest that washed-up, has-been old hag Hillary Clinton with transgendered Michelle Obama. I think an old witch and transgendered freak would epitomize what the Democrat Party stands for nowadays. Yep, he's got a good point there. And I've been saying Hillary for a long time, that Hillary will be the president and will be the final president of this country, unfortunately. And I'm going to have to stick with that, unfortunately. So it says now, of course, Biden becomes more dangerous than ever. He can implement via executive order all of the radical left-wing romper room level ideas, because he doesn't have to care at all whether anyone likes it or not. I would suggest that he has never cared and wouldn't start now. Yeah, so Hal's reporting that, and of course, it's being reported all over the world that Biden is dropped out. He's dropped out. The other thing that Hal's got on his site, rumor Secret Service boss to resign on Monday. Kimberly Cheadle, supposedly. So, yeah, we'll see about that. Who knows if that will actually happen. But turns out it wasn't the actual Secret Service that were guarding Trump anyway, according to Josh Hawley and others in the know, which we will get to that in just a little while here with the show as it unfolds. So let's take a look at the news. We've got lots to talk about as usual, and we'll just kind of jump around and look at some of the different headlines and various and sundry things that are going on in the world. The WHO pandemic treaty negotiations continue. It's not over yet. Researcher James Roguski says that the World Homicide Organization was not defeated and that half of it was adopted. He said that the WHO pandemic treaty aims to be similar to the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change. That's an international treaty that was joined by all members of the United Nations, including the United States. And it is open-ended. Leaders meet every year at conferences, and their decisions are pre-accepted as part of the framework. He explained that this is how we got into the climate mess. Roguski said that the pandemic treaty negotiations are set for September and the end of the year, when they hope to sign the agreement while Biden is still in. The bureaucrats behind the treaty said that they are on a war footing, quote, war footing, to bring an end to any kind of apartheid by building up pharmaceutical companies. Yes, because they have been oh so torn down, raking in billions, if not trillions of dollars in profits. Yeah, and he's got apartheid. So, anyway, that was a article, one of the first ones here on needtoknow.news. More curious evidence emerges in the attempted assassination. New information is being reported on the attempted assassination that includes police having knowledge of a suspicious gunman long before the shooting, Crooks's parents calling police before their son was missing, evidence of a second shooter, stock shorts before the shooting, the Secret Service chief admitting the rooftop was left wide open, and commentary from Crooks's former classmate. So, and then there's another video here and a few more details. So, anyway, those are all articles over on needtoknow.news. Good site. And let's see, revolver.news. Senator Hawley, this is what I mentioned earlier. Whistleblower, HSI, not the SS, Secret Service, put in charge of Butler, PA security. Guess what the HSI was doing on January the 6th? January the 6th. The story that will never go away because those poor people have been political prisoners ever since then, for the most part. Americans are demanding answers. They want to know how it was so incredibly easy for a gunman to shoot Trump and kill one of his innocent supporters. Clearly, there was at least a communication breakdown, and right now, we can't rule anything out until we know more. Information is still coming in slowly. For instance, Senator Hawley has just revealed some disturbing details from a whistleblower about Trump's security details. According to this source, most of Trump's security team that day in Butler, PA weren't even Secret Service agents. So it's no wonder they couldn't climb around on rooftops, slanted rooftops. Hawley claims that they were unprepared and inexperienced personnel assigned by the DHS, Department of Homeland Insecurity. So there's the tweet that he put out on the 19th, so 2 days ago. Whistleblowers tell me that most of Trump's security detail working the event last Saturday were not even Secret Service. DHS assigned unprepared and inexperienced personnel. Why would they do that? In my opinion, and in most people's opinion, I think, who've even looked at this in the least bit, they did that because they wanted Trump to die. And then here is the letter here from Mayorkas. Actually, no, this is addressed to Mayorkas from Josh Hawley. So he's awaiting a response here, it says. And I'm sure Mayorkas is chomping at the bit to give him a response. He'll probably ignore it like they do everything else. Says editor of The Federalist, which is a website I've mentioned before on this show, believes there's more to the assassination plot than meets the eye. I think almost everybody believes that at this point, especially after Hawley's revelations. Why would Secret Service and DHS starve Trump's security detail out of resources and then assign unprepared and inexperienced staff to protect him? It's enough to make you wonder if the Biden regime was deliberately trying to create the conditions that would allow someone to be able to shoot Trump. Do you suppose? Maybe it had to do with Biden's wonderful performance in the debate a few weeks ago. Well, anyway, there's quite a bit here on revolver.news, including some various letters there as well. Trump's former physician gives new details on the gunshot wound. Says Trump's former physician Ronnie Jackson said on Saturday that the former president is recovering as expected from a gunshot wound to his ear. Unlike what Joy Reid says, a piece of glass. I don't even know how you would possibly come up with that, but she did. She sounds like a conspiracy theorist, if you ask me. Anyway, recovering as expected from a gunshot wound to his ear he suffered last week, but noted intermittent bleeding and said Trump may require a hearing exam. Bullet fired by would-be assassin came less than a quarter of an inch from entering his head before striking the top of his right ear. Quarter of an inch, less than a quarter of an inch. 5 days after narrowly escaping assassination, Trump on Thursday accepted the RNC's presidential nomination for the election. It says there was initially significant bleeding, followed by a marked swelling of the entire upper ear. The swelling has since resolved, and the wound is beginning to granulate and heal properly. So this is for all the people who are wondering about the cover-up, the ear cover-up. So anyway, I personally think that it was legit. Was it staged? I don't know. Obviously, there were several shooters involved. People go on and on about the photo ops and the fact that he pumped his fist and that he stood up a couple times. Well, obviously, the people that were around him were not people that even knew the slightest thing about how to protect him. Weren't even Secret Service, as we are finding out. So isn't it possible that they had no control over the situation, which is why I brought up last week what was being said, what was being heard on the stage? What are we doing? What are we doing? Remember that? How come no one else is reporting that? What are we doing? What are we doing? I think that's kind of important. They had no idea what they were doing. And of course he would stand up and pump his fist because he just lived through being attacked. And he had no idea if there were other shooters or other bullets or any of that stuff. But I like how they were all kind of cupping their hands around him, putting their hands over him like a hand is going to stop a stray bullet or a targeted shot by some assassin. A hand. Soft tissue. No, I think the bullet would probably go right through the hand, right into the guy's head. But luckily nothing like that happened. Anyway, the whole thing is just a complete crazy fiasco, and Trump is lucky to be alive, for sure. Does that mean I support him and everything he's saying and doing? No, not at all. But I don't want to see anybody getting shot and killed. And the Democrats and the deep state almost pulled that one off. So when you have a failed assassination attempt and you are at least somewhat connected to such a thing happening, generally you go cower in the corner when you lose. And because Trump was not taken out here, I think explains why Biden is stepping down now. Not that he even knew anything about it. He probably didn't. But if he did, this gives him, gives them more of a thing to hold over him, saying, hey, if you don't step down now, then we might have to let the world know that you knew, or something like that, something to that effect. And I like how the announcement today came out, and it was just on Twitter. It was just a tweet that I think that we can all agree pretty much that Biden himself probably has zero access to the Twitter account. So the letter was most likely pre-prepared, and no one's seen Biden as far as I know. Do we know if he's even okay? I don't know. But the point is that they could have put that up whether he agreed to it or not, and that became the story. So the point here is that Biden has no control over any of that stuff. So anyways, yes, stepping down he is. Biden drops out. Well, it finally happened. Biden took to Twitter. See, I totally disagree with that. I don't think he did at all. I think his staff did, to inform the public that he intended that he will be dropping out of the 2024 race. There's the official letter. It's on revolver.news. Biden noted that he will have more details about his decision and what comes later on this week. And that tells me they still are making up the story. They're making up the grand lie. I like how he came out and endorsed his running mate, Harris. What a joke that is, huh? Well, this is what I found. Old Turkish proverb. When a clown moves into a palace, he doesn't become a king. The palace becomes a circus. And I think that is what we have all witnessed for the last almost 4 years. So the clown was brought in by the powers that be. The clown was never elected. Anyway, pretty good one. Bill and Hillary endorse Kamala in a joint statement. Isn't that nice? And ask me if I believe that. So yes, they're coming out endorsing Vice President Harris. We'll do whatever we can to support her, it says. Yeah, right. I don't believe that one bit. Well, Bill Clinton may be saying that because he has other plans, obviously, but to put Hillary's name on it, I think is pretty funny. So more on that here. More on that in just a minute. So, and if you've forgotten who Kamala Harris is, never forget, and we have shown this video before on this show, so I thought I would just remind you, new listeners to this show, you may not know this, but, you know, you're very familiar with Harris and her word salads, and she says stuff that no one, not even Joe Biden, can understand. And it's even harder to understand than Joe Biden is at times. But never forget that Kamala Harris was at one time there she is right there. There she is. She was a There's your soon-to-be president. Soon-to-be president. No, not really. But she's soon to be something. They'll probably hand her a, my guess is they'll probably hand her a judgeship somewhere. Perhaps a promise of being on the Supreme Court. Kamala Harris and I, this is I'm talking, briefly dated about 20 years ago when we were both single. So what? I have great respect for Senator. Sorry. It's before she became Veep. So, yes, cankles and cackles, Kathy says. Yes. Anyway, don't forget, the future president of the United States. Actually, that's not true. We all know she's never going to be president. Let's just face it. The Democrat Party is not going to nominate Kamala Harris, no matter how much push she's getting from the Biden side of things. That's my opinion, but I'm going to stick to it. So, this is the story, and this is something that I'll call on all of my friends here to help me watch out for. Ready for round 2. Why we need Hillary more than ever, so says the Hill. So yes, here it comes. Hillary Clinton. You watch. I still think she's going to be the nominee, and I think ultimately they will cheat to win to drive Hillary into office, and she will be. Mark my words. I would love to be wrong, believe me. The last president of the United States, Hillary Clinton. And she was supposed to be the last president of the United States in 2016, but she got beat by Trump. And don't you think that if she is somehow the nominee this time, that there is absolutely no way she would allow herself to lose again? No one needs Hillary. I agree. I'm just saying, I'm calling it like I see it. That's all it is. I'm calling it like I see it, like I always do. One of the reasons, hopefully, you guys tune in. So, and another further reminder here, if you've not seen my episode 5 of End Times Dates, Take It to the Lord in Prayer, this is an article that I mentioned at the time. And the date on this is 2018. Is Hillary Clinton the... This is not a joke. This is not a joke. So listen to this. This is actually, I think, maybe what we're looking at here. And keep in mind, where is Babylon? Almost everybody and their brother will tell you that Babylon is the entire United States. I disagree. And I made a video on it before, actually, in the End Times Date series. And I personally think that Babylon, yes, there are elements of the United States that are very problematic. The East Coast in particular, because you have D.C. in there too. However, in my opinion, if you were going to hire a city to be the current Babylon of the world, it would be New York City. And where is it Hillary Clinton lives? Where is it Hillary Clinton was a senator from? New York, wasn't it? Yeah, I think so. So anyways, is she the... No, well, something to think about. Well, first of all, before we read any of this, let's look at this first. Revelation 17. The woman on the beast. Now, throw out any of those pictures. You guys have seen them. The artist renditions, the artist's ideas of what the looks like. And you know, you've seen the paintings and the pictures of what that looks like. It's usually, you know, a semi-beautiful woman who looks like a star on the back of a beast and so forth. And obviously that's an artist's idea of what it could be. However, maybe that's not at all what's intended. I'm just bringing up a possibility here. The woman on the beast. Then one of the 7 angels in the 7 bowls came and said to me, "Come, I will show you the punishment of the great who sits on many waters. The kings of the earth were immoral with her, and those who dwell on the earth were intoxicated with the wine of her immorality." Now, perhaps it's just talking about just kind of an overview of not necessarily the embodiment of a particular human. Perhaps it's talking about the city. If you could turn Babylon into a human, that may be what it's talking about here. The kings of the earth were immoral with her, and those who dwell on the earth were intoxicated with the wine of her immortality. And the angel carried me away to the Spirit into a wilderness, where I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast that was covered with blasphemous names and had 7 heads and 10 horns. The woman was dressed in purple and scarlet and adorned with gold and precious stones and pearls. She held in her hand a golden cup full of abominations and the impurities of her sexual immorality. And on her forehead a mysterious name was written: Babylon the Great, the mother of and the abominations of the earth. So anyway, keep that in mind. Revelation 17, and we'll go back and look at this article. Is Hillary Clinton the... Again, this is an article from 2018. Today, Skywatch TV CEO at the time, Tom Horn, suggested that Hillary Clinton is the who was conceived during a ritual carried out in 1946 by Scientology founder L. Ron Hubbard, who I think I just mentioned in the last show or two. Horn claimed that stolen emails posted by WikiLeaks revealed that Clinton had filled her 2016 presidential campaign with occultists who believe her to be the biblical who will usher in the Antichrist. So she filled her 2016 presidential campaign with occultists who believe that she is. They're saying that. They believe that she is citing a ritual that took place in 1946 called the Babylon Working, and they misspelled Babylon. That's not how you spell Babylon Working. It's B-A-B-A. In which Hubbard and others allegedly attempted to conceive a goddess through ritual sex magic. Tom Horn claimed that Clinton may have been the result of that effort to bring through into our reality the archetype divine feminine. She'll grow up, she'll become an influential, worldwide known feminist who will help give rise to the Antichrist, Horn said. They believed that was Hillary Clinton. It's been announced now that Hillary Clinton is very likely going to run for president again in 2020, which we know how that turned out, So, so this is, again, a few years old, but he mentions Jack Parsons here. It says Horn went on to say that Jack Parsons, one of the main participants in the Babylon Working ritual, reported that he had had a vision in 1947, the year that Clinton was born, in which the spirit of the goddess visited him, telling him that she was now on earth to fulfill her destiny to grow up and help the Antichrist come to power, and that her name was Hilarion. You have to ask yourself, why do the occultists around her believe that? Horn said, well, mathematically, who else was named Hillary, born in 1947, that became an internationally known feminist that has the power to take the reins, the most powerful nation on earth. And that year, I predict, is this year. Not 2020, not 2016. It wasn't time. So this is not good news. This is not good news. They think she's the... No, I'm just putting it out there. And Babylon, again, in my opinion, New York City, Hillary's from New York, at least unofficially. She's from Arkansas. She's from New York. She was born in Chicago, blah, blah, blah. Let's take a look here. It says on her wiki, she is currently... How old? She is currently 76, born in 1947, in Chicago. She was born in Chicago. Where is the DNC? Where's the Democrat National Convention this year? Welcome to Chicago. Is that a coincidence too? Hillary Clinton was born there. Now, you can also say that Michelle Obama, or Big Mike, is also from there, and Obama, and so forth. Yes, you could say that. However, I do find it interesting that Hillary was born there. So I'm not willing this to be. I'm just explaining to you how I think. And I think that this is what's going to happen. With old Joe out of the way, they can now put her in power. I would love to be wrong, believe me. But we'll see how things unfold. Yes, she is evil incarnate, Kathy says. Yep. So anyways, we'll... If it comes up, we'll talk some more about that. But otherwise, we'll just keep moving here on the news. I think it's kind of interesting. If you want more about the whole Babylon working thing, it is fascinating, actually. I did a whole video on that. It's part 5 of the End Times Date series on my Take It to the Lord in Prayer channel on YouTube, but it's also on my Rumble channel and some other places as well. I thought Obama was from Hawaii. Yes, I think that's supposedly true as well. His younger years, at least, and then later on he became a senator from Chicago. So, yep, that would be the last nail in the coffin of America, Emily says. Yep, I agree. Unfortunately, I think that's probably what's in the works for the United States. Now, it doesn't have to be that way. Obviously, we have the most powerful weapon system known to man. And Anthony Patch followers will know what I'm going to say. That is prayer. The most powerful weapon system on the planet. So we do have that, and we should use it. I know I will be. I hope you guys will be as well. Praying against her. Praying against that. But yes, evil incarnate is exactly right. All right, Zero Hedge articles. Some of the headlines. Dems go full throttle on Kamala after Biden drops out of the race. Yeah, they do seem to be rallying and unifying, at least for the moment, in the hours afterwards. So we'll see how it actually shakes out, though. It doesn't really mean anything. It's too early. What else we have? Liar. Secret Service busted, repeatedly denied Trump security requests. Another article, La Nina boosts Panama Canal. Houthi threat drives up shipping costs through the Suez. First traces of solar cycle 26 detected on the sun. Solar cycle 26. DHS officials defend women in law enforcement after Trump assassination attempt. Well, we talked about that last week some. And let's see here. Visualizing the cost of hosting the Olympics. So yes, the big Olympics are coming up here very soon. And quite a few other articles over on Zero Hedge. And then headlines on Discern Report. Joe drops out. Nobody mentioned it. Trump tells Waters he was not warned about the shooter by Secret Service. Preventing another East Palestine. Will U.S. railroads implement needed communications upgrades? Okay, and then Obama judge bends GOP mail-in ballots lawsuit. That's interesting. Famed investor warns the greatest bubble in human history is about to burst. So that's one of the things I've heard recently is that they're going to allow Trump to get in and then they're going to crash the economy and so forth, which if he gets in, you can pretty much bank on the fact that they would probably do that at that time because they really want their central bank digital currency and their UBI, universal basic income and so forth. I don't know. I'm not sure. We will see. We're not that far out, obviously. Anyway, there's quite a few articles on this website. It's a pretty good one. discernreport.com. And then another good meme I found. We have quite a few memes tonight, so you won't be shortchanged in the meme department tonight. Not that I'm keeping track, but the conspiracy nuts are up 44-1 over your trusted sources. So just remember that. Thousands of Marylanders furious about eminent domain risk for new transmission line powering AI data centers. AI data centers draw massive amounts of power. When construction sites are selected, power is apparently an afterthought. No problem for nearsighted technocrats who can simply force the state to make massive land grabs from farmers and property owners to erect power lines from afar. Residents are furious about devastating businesses, farms, and property values, as they should be. So that's happening in Maryland on this particular article, but it's happening all over the place too. Blockchain, tokens, and BlackRock's plan to own the fractionalized world. Imagine tokenizing everything in the world that has value and converting it to blockchain. Things you own, things companies own, things governments own, the oceans, the forests, the animals, the air, and the entire environmental ecosphere or ecosphere. Estimates of value easily exceed $300 trillion. That's a lot of money for somebody to be pocketing, isn't it? Now imagine this as the currency base for sustainable development in all commercial activity, which is why they want to implement this digital system, such as a CBDC, mark of the beast type of situation. Clearly they want that so that they can have everything's tokenized, as this article is talking about. So they can make all of their trillions and trillions of dollars. So anyway, those are the top articles on technocracy.news. And then reclaimthenet.org, The Secret Life of Phone Repairs. Privacy risks exposed, your data at risk. So there's an article about that. If you ever have your phone repaired, easiest way to not ever have your phone repaired is to not have a phone. And believe me, I know all about that because I didn't have one for many years. Let's see, from 2015 to 2023. So however long that was. So a good while. Yeah, so Firefox faces backlash over new data collection for advertisers. Mozilla says the feature preserves privacy. Of course they do. It's for our own good. You guys use Firefox? I use that. It's one of the browsers I use. I build websites, as many of you guys know, and I always have to test things in Firefox and Chrome and all the different browsers to see what's going on. And I'm always amazed that anytime, and if you have multiple computers like I do, anytime you fire up your computer, fire up your browser, it needs to update. There's the updates wear me out. They have an update probably, 2-3 times a week sometimes with these browsers. What's with the browser updates? Rumble CEO discusses Ad Center as free speech solution to pro-censorship ad cartels. Rumble. And then free speech is under fire as Germany silences Compact magazine. Heavy-handed censorship move sparks intense debate over free speech and the state's role in suppressing dissenting voices. Compact, which apparently is a German magazine and website. Ministry of Truth, Japan's Communications Ministry proposes disinformation law. Japan's new anti-disinformation measures reflect a global trend towards stricter speech regulation. So there's no freedom in Japan either, contrary to what you might hear, how great things are over there. Spanish PM pushes media censorship law amidst corruption scandal. Critics claim the proposed media regulations are a veiled attempt to silence dissent ahead of his wife's corruption trial. So I'm sensing a theme here. Censorship across the world. YouTube's new firearm censorship policies spark crisis for creators. Speaking of which, I got a notice just a second ago. We're talking about YouTube in this particular article, but I just got a notice a second ago that Facebook just shut off my live stream. So I'm not exactly sure why, but I'm sure it's a really good reason. So we are live on a second Facebook page, though, that does seem to be active. The Diamond Report page on Facebook is still rolling, as well as Rumble and YouTube, obviously. So anyways, YouTube's new firearm censorship policies spark crisis for creators. Policy shifts jeopardize this YouTube channel, Hickok 45's extensive library of videos, raising concerns over YouTube's retroactive enforcement practices. Yeah, that's always fun. It's a moving target. They change the rules as you go. You upload a video and it's totally fine. Believe me, I know all about this. We've had this issue for years on our YouTube channel for Lost Arts Radio, which is a show that I produce. They move the goalposts. They literally change the rules, and videos that you upload today is fine, but it might not be fine in a year or two or 6 months or whatever, whenever they decide to change the rules. So that apparently is what they're talking about here on this, the firearms type of YouTube channels. So, but I get it. So, yep, moving the goalposts. That's what they love to do. There's the Biden Titanic. You can see it. I would say that this particular one needs to be sinking. I don't know why it's not. Anyway, the LibertyBeacon.com. Let's see some of the headlines. Joe bails out, tries to unite the party behind Kamala. Secret Service busted repeatedly. Denied Trump security requests. Just like Biden, the U.S. economy is sick once again. Yeah, I thought that was pretty wild. His tweet the other day said, "I'm sick." And I can't imagine all of the ways that you could go with responding to that particular thing. It just said, "I'm sick." And yeah, I mean, clearly he's sick in so many ways. But again, he doesn't have control over his own Twitter, I guarantee it. And probably wouldn't know how to tweet if his life depended on it, just a guess. So anyway, there are some of the headlines on the LibertyBeacon.com. There's quite a bit there, obviously. It's a good site. And then RT, Biden drops out of the U.S. presidential race. Republicans call on dropped-out Biden to resign. So they want him to actually resign, too. Clinton's endorsed Harris. So I don't know. I don't think he's going to resign. I do think he will, at the last minute, pardon himself for everything he's done and pardon his crazy whacked out son for everything he's done and whoever else he feels like he needs to pardon. Just a guess. I mean, that's something that quite a few people have been talking about, that he will do that, whether he leaves office early or just in January, which is what I'm expecting. He'll probably stay around. Although he might be MIA. I mean, he's kind of, 10 to 4 kind of guy anyways, with all of his health issues that he has going on. He's only good for a few hours a day at the tops anyway, and that good is not very good. But the point is, he can only function just a few hours a day, so I expect we'll see him less, not more. So anyway, that is the headlines over on RT. Russia Today. All right, you guys probably heard about this. Rep. Sheila Jackson Lee dies of cancer. She was Miss Personality. Texas Congresswoman's office issued a statement on Friday acknowledging her death, describing her as the people's champion. Yeah. Beloved by her district. Well, they kept putting her back into office, so that's pretty interesting. Her office and family did not disclose a cause of death, but the AP reported that she had been diagnosed with pancreatic and breast cancer. She served the constituents of her district more than 30 years. And they still never did invent term limits. While in Congress, Jackson Lee fought for racial justice, criminal justice, and human rights. No, I think she actually fought against all that stuff. She consistently voted for pro-abortion legislation, Biden called her unrelenting leader in achieving racial justice and building the economy. To which he followed that up by saying, now, who was that? Anyways, yes, dead at 74. I think I have a tweet about that as well. We'll look at that in a few. King Charles III to take first international tour since cancer diagnosis. Charles and Queen will travel to Australia and Samoa in October. KC3. Going to, Samoa in Australia. So that's interesting, huh? So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Thought that was kind of interesting. So apparently his cancer isn't so bad after all. He's able to travel to Australia. People's Voice TV. Senator Johnson, FBI covering up evidence of multiple shooters in coordinated Trump assassination attempt, which is the first video that we started out with tonight. Makes sense to me. Sharon Stone, washed up actress, threatens to leave America if Trump wins second term. So this is when we all pray that Trump wins. I think Rosie O'Donnell has said similar things. Of course, she did. A lot of these people did this last time as well. If Trump wins, I'm leaving. And then they didn't leave because that's just what they are, liars. So there she is, shedding some tears, Sharon Stone. So I enjoy seeing that. I don't know about you guys. Top pilot testifies Bill Gates is fumigating cities with mood-altering chemtrails. So not exactly a headline to me, but for those out there who have never ventured into the world of chemtrails and geoengineering, this is not new news. This is something that people have been talking about for years, that Gates is doing this kind of stuff. This is saying mood-altering chemtrails. I think that's kind of the whole purpose, wasn't it? I think it was Prince years ago said that he had heard that was what was going on and witnessed that himself when people's moods are being changed. Netanyahu warns there is nowhere that the long arm of Israel will not reach. And I believe him, unfortunately. WAPO, Secret Service covering up that it denied Trump's request for more security. Of course it did. They might as well just come out and say it because everyone already knows. Venezuela's Maduro testifies that CIA tried to assassinate him just like Trump. Okay, and video, black woman shoots a baby in a stroller at point-blank range. That is in Philly, city of brotherly love. Just not baby love, apparently, because this lady walks by and shoots a baby in a stroller. Because she can. So amazing and so evil. Man. AIPAC orders Americans to be loyal to Israel as Israel bombs Yemen. Yes. Never question Israel ever. And then what I mentioned earlier, she's running. Hillary Clinton tells DNC grandees it's her turn to beat Trump. Twice failed presidential candidate Hillary Clinton has re-entered the fray, elbowing herself into position to be crowned the Democrat presidential nominee following an open DNC convention next month. Democrat Party is in disarray. Well, we'll see. This article may be exaggerating things a little. I think it probably is. However, I still think she's running. DOJ says children were raped by the staff at U.S. migrant shelters. Wow. So those are the headlines on the homepage there of thepeoplesvoice.tv. Let's see. Information and liberation. Biden withdraws from 24 presidential race. Endorses Kamala. What's my voice? No, me. That's what I'm going to start calling her. Yemen orders Israelis to evacuate unsafe zones. promises no red lines in response to bombings. So, what do they say about? Well, they say lots of things about karma, but Yemen. This is kind of crazy. Yemen is talking to Israel, doing what Israel has been doing to Gaza all this time. So Yemen is ordering the Israelis to evacuate the unsafe zones while they bomb it. So, a little fair play, I guess you could say, over there in Israel. WAPO, Secret Service, did deny Trump's request for more security, falsely claimed otherwise. Because that's what they do, they lie. AIPAC says America must have Israel's back as Israel bombs Yemen. And then some of these other things I think we've mentioned before. And did you see the big RNC speech, Trump speech? I saw just a little bit of it, but I didn't watch it. Anyways, more here on the website informationliberation.com. And then let's see. I was looking to see if there was anything here on Daily Crow that's interesting. This headline, I saw it earlier and I thought it was kind of interesting because I hadn't really thought of this per se in these terms. See what you guys think. Israel had someone pretend to kill Trump, which obviously that's not exactly what happened, so America can bomb Iran for them. Now, this is a tweet here that Nick Fuentes is trying to draw some parallels here. Number one, Elon Musk makes undisclosed donation to Trump. Number two, Trump assassination attempt. Number three, J.D. Vance tapped for VP. Number four, Vance calls for war with Iran. Number five, media blames Iran for the assassination. Which, yes, they've been doing when we know it was, we don't know exactly who, but we do know that there was a stand down and allowed to happen. But this is saying Israel had someone pretend to kill Trump so America can bomb Iran for them. So maybe, just something to think about. Kind of wild and crazy. Marca.com. Donald Trump aide claims Hillary Clinton is taking Biden's spot in the election. So again, this is more of what we were talking about earlier. So I'm finding lots of people talking about this all of a sudden. Donald Trump picks J.D. Vance as running mate, opting for a MAGA favorite in last-minute decision. He's a MAGA favorite, so I guess that makes it okay. I don't like J.D. Vance. I don't know about you guys. I have my issues with Trump, but we know what we're getting with him. J.D. Vance, I don't think we know what we're getting. I kind of envision him as more of a, Brutus versus Julius Caesar. I kind of see him as a turncoat, kind of like Pence was. I could be wrong, but there's lots of video out there of Vance going on and on about how terrible Trump is. And I'm not saying that he's completely wrong. I'm just saying that now he all of a sudden loves the guy and he's his running mate. Why would that be? So to me, this just proves, when I heard that Vance was the VP pick, and I was really hoping that it would be Kari Lake, as you guys know. I had the hopes up for that to be the pick, because I do like Kari Lake. I think she's definitely on the right track, and somebody that the media is absolutely terrified of, which is awesome. But nope, that's not who he picked. He picked J.D. Vance, and I didn't really know too much about him. Still don't. But, obviously the news out there, there's more and more people digging into him. Yeah, he has connections to Big Pharma as well. Yes, that's right. He's quite the pro-vaxxer, apparently. So just by that one thing, I already don't like him. So, yeah, I mean, obviously with Trump, you know what you're getting to a degree. He's the guy that came up with the whole lockdowns and at least he it wasn't his idea, but he implemented it, the lockdowns and Operation Warp Speed and all this stuff. But I definitely do not trust J.D. Vance. So, and along those lines, this is partially why. So here it is.
As somebody who doesn't like Trump, myself, the elites were right about Donald Trump, right? I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him.
He's the best president of my lifetime, and he revealed the corruption in this country like nobody else.
I can't stomach Trump. I think that he's noxious and is leading the white working class to a very dark place.
I think that he was a good president. I think he made a lot of good decisions for people.
I take it you're not a Trump supporter from what I've read. Am I right? Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I didn't vote for Trump.
All around, he was a great president. I'm 37 years old. Certainly the best president of my lifetime.
It's the best president of his lifetime. Trump is. Meanwhile, he's hating on him the whole time, too. So I think this is another setup. I do. I think so. And nothing. If nothing else, it's just another one of those situations where Trump surrounds himself with people who are not supporting what he's trying to do and who will take advantage of him in some way or another, i.e. the swamp. Yeah, Mike Pence 2.0. I think that's right. And if you look at his name, there's not much difference in the spelling. Pence Vance. Pence Vance. So I think Trump is making yet another massive mistake having this guy be his running mate. Maybe it's just me, but I don't like it. All right, let's see here. Substack, New York Times declines to publish evidence of J.D. Vance's private views on Israel. This corruption isn't going to fly anymore. I want to be clear. This is the author of this website, Arthur Bloom. No idea who he is. I want to be clear that I like J.D. Vance. This is this guy talking, not me. I've met him. I appreciate his willingness to change, but he's being slotted into a role here in which a lot of these so-called national conservatives, a foreign influence op by Israel, Poland, and increasingly India, will call for more or less the same foreign policy views as the failed consensus, just more reluctantly, and call it realism. That will not do. At this point, given that most of Israel, including the Mossad and increasingly the generals of the IDF, has turned on Netanyahu, and it seems like now would be a very good time for some Republicans to rethink their grotesque subservience to a foreign country, and especially a leader who is currently on trial. Vance has heard out some of the arguments here, but has not allowed himself to be persuaded by them. New York Times is a big piece today about the Vance vice presidential pick with bylines from Jonathan Swan and Likud asset Maggie Haberman, a third reporter, Matthias Schwartz, who has been covered in these pages, given text from Charles Johnson regarding Vance's private views on Israel. How do I know this? Because he freaked out when Charles posted them today. So, anyways, I don't know. I guess the cats are fighting. So I don't know exactly what's going on with that, but I don't really care that much about it. It's just more things that, to me, point to Vance not being a very good choice. So anyway, back to New York for just a minute. Meteor soars over the Statue of Liberty at 34,000 miles per hour, burns up above Manhattan as New Yorkers report shaking. So did you guys hear about this? This was a few days ago. This is dated July 16th. Meteor soared over the Statue of Liberty. I don't know why they have to say that. I mean, obviously it just went over New York, I guess. Before disintegrating about 30 miles above Midtown Manhattan on Tuesday morning. The space rock passed through the atmosphere over the Big Apple around 11:15 a.m. Same time, New Yorkers reported seeing a flash of fire streak across the sky and felt the ground lightly shaking beneath their feet. So, interesting, huh? A daylight fireball in New York. Is that an accident? I don't know. Maybe it's a sign of some sort. I don't know. I just thought that was kind of interesting. All right, I wanted to mention some of this video. I'd never heard of this channel or this guy, but I think he makes some really good points. Now, I mentioned this guy, what's his name? Biggs, Brandon Biggs, who is the guy who prophesied about Trump being, I guess you could say, grazed by a bullet in his ear, and several months ahead of time. So I do think it is worth listening to this, but this is a slightly different twist on how it may not be what you think. Not the shooting, not that part, but this guy talks about how Trump, after he is after the attempt on his life, he becomes a huge follower of Jesus. Like, he becomes a massive supporter of Jesus, and you can just see it and hear it in his voice and all this stuff. Well, this particular video goes into more detail here about how Trump has in fact converted to Judaism, not Christianity. So I think it's important, and I wanted to mention it tonight. So this is a video that we'll link to in the Substack post, but we'll listen to a little bit of it now, just to kind of get a flavor for what's going on.
Side of the White House.
Okay, I think we've got the gist of it. I know you've probably heard it already. I hate to kind of, be one of the regular talking heads just covering all this news, but my goodness, man, I just don't see anybody really just covering this properly. So what Brandon Biggs, who is he, right? You look into who he is, there's really not a whole lot of information out there. Some Newsmax called him a janitor. Okay, Newsmax calls him a janitor. Janitor's prophecy comes true, eerily true. You have Australia News covering him. The UK's covering him. It's funny that I covered one of his dream vision things that happened regarding the New Madrid. And I told you, or New Madrid, we're looking for earthquakes there. I couldn't find anybody else even talking about it except for Brandon Biggs. And so anyways, I want to shed some light on all of this because right away, Brandon says Trump fell to his knees after the bullet sliced his ear. Again, the eardrum, that didn't happen. But I mean, still, it's really close, right? It's really close. I'm not trying to downplay the accuracy of what Brandon's saying here. But he said Trump fell to his knees, became radically born again. And people say he's a believer now. He's a follower of God now. But he becomes on fire for Jesus, is what Brandon says. See, this is already, this is, how should I say this? False, 100%. Okay? And I'm going to prove it to you right here. I'm going to prove it to you. It's not hard. So you go to The Hill. This is from December of 2019. Mark Levin calls Trump the first Jewish president. Now, here's the plot twist that none of you saw coming, right? That I was going to talk about today. Trump is the first Jewish president. It's not just this conservative talk show host that's saying this, though, Mark Levin. But he called President Trump the nation's first Jewish president during a Hanukkah party at the White House on Wednesday. This is 2019. It's an honor to be here with the first Jewish president of the United States. And Levin said, and if he isn't, he should be. Trump smiled in response to the reference. Now, The Hill says Trump is not Jewish, though his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, is Jewish. Trump's daughter, Ivanka Trump, converted to the Jewish faith after marrying Kushner. There have been no Jewish presidents in U.S. history, this article goes on to say. But President Trump has issued a number of ardently pro-Israel policies since becoming president, and on Wednesday signed an executive order to define Jewish people as an ethnic group rather than just a religious one in a bid the White House says will combat anti-Semitism. He has formally moved the U.S. Embassy in Israel to Jerusalem, which is, anyway, you guys know, it's supposed to be part Palestinian, but hey, no, Jerusalem belongs to the 1948 Israeli state. Trump joked with Levin. There's a very interesting quote in here. Here it is, yes. I'm truly grateful to have the Jewish faith woven so deeply into my family, Trump said. And of course, you guys know, Ivanka and Kushner were both senior advisors to the president. So that's that article, right? Trump, Jewish. First Jewish president. He may as well be, but it gets a whole lot deeper than that. It's not just a speculation game we have to play. This is Donald Trump's true religious ideology. It's his true faith, Judaism. This is what True News has to say. This is from 5 years ago on January 24th, 2019. At least this is when this was uploaded. From Kiruv Media. Let's see what has to be said here on True News. I think it'll blow your mind. Check this out.
If Jared Kushner is vice president, if that's not weird enough, here's the one that really is weird. Donald Trump converted to Judaism 2 years ago, according to White House official.
Yeah, so this clip is from May 22nd, 2019 from True News.
Hey, there it is. That's his blog. He said, President Donald Trump converted to Judaism 2 years ago and joined Chabad Lubavitch Synagogue in New York City, according to a high-level White House official. Mr. Goldberg says the story has allegedly been held by CNN's editors for months, but is due to be released within the next few days. David Elias Goldberg, a fellow at the Jewish Center of Anti-Semitic Study, has also interviewed the White House source. According to the source, Trump was pushed by his daughter Ivanka and son-in-law Jared Kushner to join the faith. At first, Trump resisted, stating it would threaten his base of evangelical Christian voters.
This is fascinating, right? You never heard about this in all of our circles of media. It was never really made a big deal. But what I just played to you explains so much of the religious ideology, so many of the moves that Trump made when he was president. It explains it perfectly. Okay?
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. And you have all these evangelicals out there who love Trump, worship Trump, and are, just hugely, as Trump would say, hugely pushing the presidency of Donald J. Trump forward yet again. It is 11/11. Yes. Thank you, Kelly. Yes, it is. So pretty interesting, huh? But the video is quite a bit longer. Obviously, we can't play the whole thing here, but I thought he did a good job. This is Abraham Overcome Babylon channel on YouTube. Here, let me scroll up a little. You can see there at the top. So, yeah, highly recommended. I think this video seemed to be pretty much spot on from what I can tell. So, yeah, it doesn't look good for Christians, Mr. Ruby's saying here. Yeah, I would agree. So, anyways, just be aware. Be aware. And obviously, with the assassination attempt now behind us, hopefully they won't be successful, but as I said last week, I don't know. I mean, they might double down and really go for it at this point. They almost have nothing to lose, especially with Biden out of the race and so forth. But I don't know. I mean, they could get him. They could really get him, and then you'll have all the people that will say, "Oh, he's not really dead, and it was just all staged, and he's going to be on a beach somewhere," and you'll have that contingency as well. But for the most part, though, he has huge support in the Christian community. So I was just mostly bringing that up so that you guys would be aware of it if you weren't already. Many of you guys are, but you just never know. Whoever happens to see this show may think that Trump is so wonderful. And I'm not saying that he's not doing and talking about some good things. I'm not saying that at all. But the point is, we have to watch out. As believers, we have to be very aware of these types of things. So just so you know, it may not be all that it seems to be, as far as Trump and speaking about God. And yeah, there was a comment here that he only mentions God. He doesn't mention Jesus ever. Kathy says, Trump never says Jesus. He says God, but never Jesus. So, yep, that's an important one. Anyway, that is a YouTube video, my warning about Brandon Biggs' Trump prophecy. And not to take away from the prophecy, it was pretty amazing how much he got right on that. And that's pretty mind-blowing, but I don't think that he's right about him becoming a born-again, on fire for Jesus type of person. I don't really see Trump doing that, no matter what happens. I wish I was wrong, but I just don't see that. Now, I came across this, and, right back to Trump and the bad choice of J.D. Vance. This is another head-scratcher. If Trump gets in, watch out. Trump says J.P. Morgan's Jamie Dimon no longer is a Bitcoin critic, but he considers him or will consider him for the Treasury. Jamie Dimon. A literal criminal. Chosen by Trump. Isn't that nice? Dimon has been a long, and it's Diamond, not Diamond, so no relation, all right? Jamie Dimon has been a long-standing critic of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, but Trump recently shared that his stance has softened in recent months. Who cares? It's Jamie Dimon of J.P. Morgan Chase. So he's gonna consider. He says he's willing to appoint the executive as Secretary of the Treasury. Putting the fox in charge of the chicken coop. Or the hen house, or whatever other visual you want to use there. That's what it is. Tucker Carlson, this is on Blaze. Tucker Carlson warns a spiritual battle is underway in America and then reveals its number one target. Very obvious now. It's the religion of Jesus that makes them angry, and that suggests that maybe there is something a little deeper going on here. So I think Tucker's right about that. Talking about, according to Carlson, the forces he identified are dedicated to the destruction of people. And he believes that they have a common enemy, Christians. So I don't think he's wrong. So that's on the Blaze. And then this Times of Israel article came across. We were just talking about Israel, and this is another Washingtonite who is owned by Israel, Speaker Johnson. U.S. House Speaker, anyone who gets out of hand during Netanyahu's speech could face arrest. Netanyahu is coming to the Congress. Right here it says, U.S. House Speaker Johnson says some Democrat lawmakers may try and interrupt Prime Minister Netanyahu's address to a joint session of Congress next week, but that they will be arrested if need be. So you can't have opinions that go against Bibi in Israel. It's not allowed. Anyway, my guess is Speaker Johnson is in that position because Israel said he should be. Just a guess. All right, and then headlines on Natural News. We have Woke and Weak. Secret Service gives pathetic excuse for not covering the warehouse roof where Trump's assassin opened fire. Secret Service Director Kim Cheadle, a close friend of the Biden crime family, Jill's office recommended her for the position. Makes sense? Totally responsible for security at Trump's Butler, Pennsylvania rally. Cheadle. Law enforcement notified Secret Service about the shooter before the assassination attempt. So why wasn't Trump immediately evacuated? Because they wanted him to die. Let's see. J.D. Vance, Trump's VP pick, promises to increase weapons and cash shipments to Israel while advancing Abraham Accords. And probably wanting Noahide laws as fast as he can make it happen. I just don't trust the guy. Anyway, those are articles on Natural News. Wine Press. Look at some of the headlines on here. Biden announces he's dropping out of the election, endorses Kamala. Let's see here. Trump's Catholic VP pick. J.D. Vance says Trump represents America's last best hope. So again, do you believe that? I don't believe that he actually thinks that. Largest IT outage in history leads to mass disruptions. Banks unable to transact. Flights delayed. Emergency services down. So speaking of that, let's take a look at the old cyber attack that we just all went through. Okay, anyway, I thought that was a pretty good report as far as just kind of an overview as to the whole CrowdStrike thing, cyber attack, if you want to call it that, that we just all went through the other day. And I don't know about you guys, it didn't really affect me directly, but I could see where if you were traveling or something like that, yeah, it was definitely not good news. So anyways, more of that to come, as Klaus Schwab has told us. So something to keep an eye on, as we say. So as far as other headlines on Wine Press News, Biden tests positive for COVID while campaigning, which that's all over now. So yes, of course we believe he has COVID. Sure he does. With a test that doesn't test for a Bank of Canada argues a CBDC would fulfill a role of cash as the economy and money become increasingly digital. So the Bank of Canada is all for it. Anyways, those are the headlines, a few of them, on Wine Press News. And then Gateway Pundit, let's see, Dave Portnoy. There's no way Kamala would have been the nominee if Biden dropped before the Democrat primary. So I think he's got a good point there. Weighing in on the big news today, Biden withdrew from the presidential race. Portnoy, an American businessman and founder of Barstool Sports, released a video earlier in the day where he assumed the Bidens were able to strike a deal with the DNC that was lucrative enough to get them to dump their plans for a 2024 presidential election run. He pointed out the obvious that there is no way that Kamala could have won the primary election against a hungry pool of Democrat candidates. Kamala did not have a chance in Hades in winning a primary race against the other power-hungry neo-Marxists. Yeah, so, but she hasn't won yet. I mean, he's endorsed her, but that doesn't mean anything, as we all know, at this stage. Senator Johnson says, I've seen evidence that there may have been 2 shooters. We can't trust the FBI and Secret Service to do an honest and open investigation. You don't say. And you don't want them investigating themselves. Yeah. So 2 shooters, might have been more than that. Who knows? We mentioned that in the video, actually, the first video tonight. Mentioned that. She's running. Hillary Clinton floated as Biden replacement amid Democrat turmoil. Obama and Pelosi are orchestrating damaging leaks to the media in an effort to drive Biden out of the race. Well, that worked. So, yeah, we know it's not Joe running anything, and we definitely know that now, if we didn't already. Liberal tears. Rachel Maddow, shell-shocked, and Van Jones, this guy, I guess, cries after Biden drops out. They were crying. Liberal pundits like Maddow and Van Jones are not doing well after Biden announced he's dropping out. So sad. Kind of like your grandpa when you got to take the keys, Van Jones says. No. Grandpa hasn't had his hand on the nuke button all this time, fomenting wars across the world and barely able to talk. And taking millions of dollars in bribes from foreign countries. Let's see here. Senator Johnson drops bombshell. Preliminary findings in an investigation into attempted assassination. Here are the details. So this is just more details on what I mentioned already. 2 shooters and so forth. And then, let's see here. Truth in Media. Israel destroys 70 vehicles with people inside. So this is just a short little, trailer. So let's watch this. I'll just stay on screen.
Well, if you look at Israeli media, you're going to find some pretty interesting things. Let's read this quote directly from Ynet, a large mainstream Israeli media outlet. Quote, in the week after Black Shabbat, October 7th, soldiers of elite units at the initiative of the Southern Command checked about 70 vehicles that remained in the area between the Otaf settlements and the Gaza Strip. 70 vehicles. And in some cases, everyone in the vehicle was killed. These are Israelis killed by Israel. Again, only reported on in Israeli media. Here in the U.S., we keep seeing pictures repeatedly of cars burnt to a crisp as evidence of Hamas's barbarism. But was it Hamas's AK-47s and homemade rockets that burnt all these cars to a crisp? Or perhaps Hellfire and anti-tank missiles? We all know the Hannibal Directive means to kill your own. So what does mass Hannibal mean?
Mass Hannibal is apparently what Israel is doing. Kill your own and then some. So yeah, Israel destroys 70 vehicles with their own people inside. So that's one of the video articles over there on Truth in Media, truthinmedia.com. And then let's see, activist post articles. Just look at some of the headlines on here. Facial recognition and AI monitoring deployed in India's largest railway network. fake alien invasion? Are they planning the ultimate false flag? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Pandemic response was the turning point. The economic folly of a carbon tax. Blue screen of death could throw the global economy into a state of chaos for weeks. Yeah, we saw how that went just a few hours earlier in the week. The magic bullet theory returns. Staged Trump assassination. Don't know that they're calling it a lie. I'm just reading what the headline says. Will Julian Assange and WikiLeaks help elect Trump again? So, those are some of the headlines on activistpost.com. Let's see. I don't think I really pulled up anything in particular on notthebee.com, although they always have some good stories, good articles over there. I did find this meme, and even though we haven't read any articles about this, you can see where it's going. What if teachers started baptizing kids at school and hid that from the parents? What would be the public's reaction? Yeah. So looking at the whole gender thing with what's going on in places like California, where it's supposed to be hidden from the parents. If they brainwashed your kid and the kid says that they're a boy and they really think they're a girl, or vice versa. What if teachers started baptizing kids at school and hid it from the parents? What would be the public's reaction? Just something to think about. And then InfoWars is also reporting Hillary to replace Joe. Alex delivers powerful inside intel confirmed by multiple sources that the Democrat Party is preparing to toss aside Joe for Hillary as their presidential nominee to take on Trump again in November. And that is what this video is about here. But I know many of you guys out there, I won't mention any names, don't exactly like Alex, and he was in the last video I showed. So if you don't like him, I'm sorry, but which is part of the video. It was a John Bound report, so he was in there, but I won't play another one on purpose. But it is there if anybody does want to check it out and see what Alex is talking about as far as Hillary goes. So it's just kind of more of the same stuff that I've been talking about on this show. Trump responds to Biden dropping out, was not fit to run for president and certainly not fit to serve. You don't say. Yeah, and then let's see. Some of the headlines on modernity.news. Vance said Biden should resign the presidency now, which I don't disagree, but I don't really see that happening. We'll see. Van Jones again says energy behind Trump like nothing he's seen since Obama 2008. Third of Biden voters think Trump staged the assassination against himself. So things are getting a little crazy out there. They sound like conspiracy theorists. MSNBC's Joy Reid compares Biden getting COVID to Trump getting shot. So that's some of the headlines on modernity.news. It's a good site. And then let's see, vaccine impact. Back to the old blue screen of death. Microsoft Windows version 109.8 has failed to start. Your PC cannot start due to a lack of human intelligence. Human beings somewhere, somehow, are working on a solution because Microsoft Windows cannot fix this. This error was caused by third-party software, so please do not blame us. That's the error message. Not actually a true one, but it is fairly accurate in that that's the type of thing you might see on a Microsoft computer these days. One single computer glitch could cost tens of billions of dollars in losses, showing how frail technology has become. Let's see. Downtown Tel Aviv bombed from the Red Sea. Israel humiliated by the Houthis as downtown Tel Aviv bombed by undetected new drone class. Netanyahu heads to U.S. Congress as ICC arrest warrant is still outstanding. Yeah, I would like to see Netanyahu be arrested. I don't know about you guys. That would actually be pretty funny. Elon Musk's world's biggest con man or just a fool? Big tech in panic mode. Tesla catches fire, burns to a crisp at supercharging station. Yeah. Food inflation has caused some of the best grass-fed beef in the world to be less expensive than commodity medicated beef raised in feedlots. So that's another one of the articles there. And then pro-vaccine Zionist J.D. Vance becomes vice president pick for GOP. Mentioned that earlier. And then John Rappaport's article on the Trump assassination attempt. Notice how he hyphenates the word assassination. You can kind of tell what he thinks about it. Anyways, those were some of the headlines on vaccineimpact.com. Geoengineeringwatch.org. We have Dane's article for this week, Engineered Heat Domes. Apocalyptic 150 degree Fahrenheit heat domes smashes temperature records as the world bakes. Heat dome settles over West Coast with 112 degree temps, creating deadly conditions for 10 million and sparking wildfire fears. Yep, it's just a matter of time, right? It's not a matter of if, but when the old wildfires start up again. Extreme heat waves broiling the U.S. in 2024 aren't normal. Well, they are now, I think. And from Scientific American, geoengineering the climate could pose a new risk to the planet. Question, how bad do conditions need to be before populations wake up and realize we face a fight for life on Earth? So, Global Alert News this week, the longest show with all of the extras was actually on YouTube this week. We had to cut stuff down to get it to fit on the radio version. So the YouTube version embedded on the website here is actually the longest, best version of the show. I think it was like 15 minutes longer or so than the radio version. 15 or 18 minutes. So Dane had lots to talk about this week. So anyway, I'm producer for his radio show, so that's why I have that information. But yeah, geoengineeringwatch.org. And make sure you're on the mailing list if you're not already on there. Let's see. And then the scheduled weather for this week. Once again, the above temps are back. Mostly in the north and east. Above temps near normal where I am and out west. So I don't think there's any such thing as normal, but that's what this is saying on the old NOAA scheduled weather map here. Netanyahu to meet Biden in D.C. on Tuesday. I think he must have given the phone call to Biden earlier today telling him to step aside. Jerusalem confirmed on Sunday that Bibi will meet with Biden in Washington on Tuesday afternoon. Concerns have been raised about Biden's so that'd be funny if they're back in the wherever they meet, I suppose in the White House, and they're both wearing masks. That would be hilarious. Anyway, that was the only article I pulled up on Israel365news.com. And I think that was the end of the articles tonight. So let's see what you guys are saying. I do have a one thing I wanted to mention before anybody leaves. Don't leave yet. Never clock out early here because we have lots of stuff to talk about still. We're going to go through some of the questions and comments, but I wanted to mention Mark and Crystal in chat, Verb Homefront, and they're having some issues with water. I guess water is a problem there. So has to do with a well pump, if I'm remembering the information there from your post. A well pump and potentially trying to get that fixed. We went through the same thing at up in Indiana at my mom's place recently, actually, where the well pump stopped working and we had to do some repairs and stuff. So I don't envy that process. I'm hoping that you guys can get out of that issue of not having water as cheaply as possible, but it can be very expensive. So I just wanted to put it out there if anybody out there can help Mark and Crystal. I know they would really appreciate it. And I would just suggest that if you wanted to, you could probably reach them through Band, if that's okay, you guys. And yeah, Emily's got the post here in Band. So if you're a member of Band and you want to help out Mark and Crystal, Verba Homefront, I know they would greatly appreciate that. And I will do that as well. So hopefully you guys will get what you need to get the water flowing again. So I just wanted to mention that before we get too much further into the questions and comments, something that I had told you that I would talk about tonight. So let me see if there's any mention of that in the chat here. He's not fooled by Trump, she says. Okay. Yeah. There doesn't seem to be much. There's people that absolutely love Trump and think he can do no wrong, or there's people who absolutely hate Trump and think he's the Antichrist. There's not too much in between. I find myself in between. I don't think he's the Antichrist. I'm almost 100% sure he's not. But I also don't trust him. So, anyways, I just wanted to bring that up because it does seem like, you know, you're at one end or the other, one extreme or the other, for the most part. I've really noticed that a lot lately, especially since the shooting. Secret Service job description is literally putting themselves in danger to protect another. Yeah, that's what they're supposed to do. And I think the security detail that he's got around him now is way better, so that's good. Does it make sense that Trump is a certainty and that the 7 laws will be soon to follow, Susan says. The 7 laws. No hide laws? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would assume that that's very possible if that happens. I mean, if he does get in. A guy named Maxwell is possibly the guy they're calling crooks. Okay. I didn't know that. I knew that there were others saying that it wasn't, that Crooks wasn't, like he was just a patsy and so forth, which I don't know. I mean, they never tell us the truth about stuff like this. We all know that. So whatever they say, you can pretty much bet isn't not right at all, or only just like 1% right, maybe. When Biden won in 2020, my second words, lol, were, they will 25th him and Hillary will be in. I was so close. Yeah, that's what I thought. I didn't think that old Biden would last 4 years, but in a way he hasn't really. I mean, he has been a decrepit corpse most of that time and only barely able to even complete sentences. So, you know, everyone knows that someone else or maybe a committee of people have been the president for the last mostly 4 years. I do not understand lack of blood on Trump's hand and collar, though. Anyone else find that weird? Yeah, Dr. Rima brought that up in her Substack, and he did have blood on his hands in one of the pictures, but there wasn't much. But he said that there was a lot of blood, at least later on. He said that. So I don't know. It is very strange. So who knows? Again, I don't think he's an actor. I think that he bought his way into the whole television thing, and I don't think he's an actor at all. I'm just saying that I don't think that this was. I think it was staged to some degree, although I'm not saying it was fake. I think they really did want to kill him. I could be wrong, but that's sure what it seems like to me. Trump called for unity and then fight. Yes, that's true. I think the fight was for fighting the bad guys, New World Order, and Deep State, which I am all for, Kelly says. Yeah, I think that's how I took it. That's what he meant. Mm-hmm. And there were a lot of people snapping photos, and you know, if you have good lighting and a decent camera, you can get some incredible pictures if you're fast enough and know what to look for and have an eye for it. And there were a lot of people around him that were taking photos of what was going on as things unfolded, and some iconic pictures were certainly had. I don't necessarily believe that it was all staged from that standpoint, because you can, if you know what you're doing, you can snap some really good, super professional photos very quickly. And I don't really call that as a stage thing as far as the photos go. I've heard people say that that proves it somehow, that because the photos look staged, but not really. I mean, if you have a good eye for it, you can take some incredible pictures in a hurry. I kind of feel like 2025 will be the year of the official Mark of the Beast placement. What do you all think? Crystal says. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the technology is being injected now, but there hasn't been some of the other key things that need to happen according to Scripture. So, yes, the technology is being injected. There has not been a Antichrist type of person who has made it to where it has to happen. You have to take it or you die, or you have to take it to be able to buy and sell. That hasn't happened yet. Doug thinks the Great Tribulation starts in March 2025. Actually, January is what the timeline that I have, January. But yeah, it could be anywhere between January and March, but basically 2025. You can just say that. Another YouTuber, Antichrist 45, Brother Paul is convinced Trump is it. Yeah, I don't think we talked about this last week. I don't think you just can't convince people who already believe that he is the Antichrist. Otherwise, I don't, there's probably no point in even trying. We talked about that last week. He doesn't have the imagery. He doesn't have the pedigree. And his name doesn't add up to 666. Not in the way that Scripture talks about the calculation having to be done. And Charles fits all of those. So on that note, thank you guys for being here tonight. Certainly appreciate it. We got lots of rumblers over there tonight and nobody chatting. Kind of interesting. I don't know why you guys don't chat in Rumble, but I guess you just don't. And that's fine. We got lots of people in YouTube, though, chatting, so that's cool. And again, the Facebook feed got switched off about 30 minutes into the broadcast or less. So, yeah, it's... who knows? I didn't really get a notice. They literally just shut the feed off going to my Facebook page, but my other Facebook page, it's working. So people on the Diamond Report page are able to watch it, but people on my personal profile on Facebook, it got shut off. So who knows? Kathy says, thank you all. This is the best, well-mannered, and most informative chat by far. Thanks, Doug. God bless you and yours. Well, thank you. I'm glad. Yes, they are pretty well-mannered. They're very well behaved. We have to take them out to the woodshed if they're misbehaving. No, I'm just joking. Everybody in this chat seems to be good folks, as we say. So, yeah. Thank you guys for being here tonight. I don't really have anything else to bring to you, so we will call it a night. Make sure you're on the Substack list if you're not already. Got a few people on there recently signing up, so that's cool. And, if you're interested in supporting the show, that's the best way to do it, really. Substack, or you can visit the shop. I don't have the tab pulled up, but you can go to shop.thediamond.report. Got lots of cool items on there, from wearables, hats, and shirts, and sweatshirts, and things like that, to mugs and stickers and mouse pads and all kinds of things. So those are available. Should you want to support the show, that's probably the quickest and easiest way to do that. And another option here is on Substack. You go to diamonddisc.substack.com. Again, the link's in the upper right corner up there. You click on through there, and you can choose to give at that point if you want to, or you can just click no thanks, or you can sign up, whichever one you want to do. And you go into here where the main posts are. This was the post for tonight's broadcast, and then these posts over here on the left, and then down the center are the previous shows. So make sure you're on that list, and on Tuesday, I will send out the, nobody gets a woodshed here. Yes, I know. Really, really cool people here. No pajamas, Miss Ruby says. I know, we don't have any pajamas available in the, she's asking me to design some pajamas. I would do that, but we have a print on demand thing in our shop. So if you go to shop.thediamond.report, there are quite a few different clothing-related items in there, but there's no pajamas. And Miss Ruby is definitely wanting some Diamond Report pajamas. So I'll work on that. I'm not exactly sure what I can do, but I can put the word out to the company that does the order fulfillment and see what they say. So yes, thank you guys very much for being here tonight. I certainly appreciate it. Always enjoy hanging out with you guys. It's 12 o'clock midnight on 7/22. Hope you guys have a good week. I think that it's going to keep accelerating. That's what I think. And unfortunately, I think it's going to keep accelerating downhill. But if we have Jesus and know where our eternity will be, then that's what really matters. So I am glad that I do, and I hope that you do. I hope that you know Jesus and you will know peace. And I certainly do, because it is certainly a chaotic storm. It seems to be swirling around all of us, and I do think it's picking up week to week to week. So anyway, I wanted to mention the other places you guys can find me. If you're not already, follow me on these other places. I think it's good to be on Twitter. Elon, for all of his faults and issues and stuff, I do think that mostly what's happening on Twitter X is seems to be pretty positive. I wanted to mention this tweet. Drew Hernandez says, she took her hate for Trump to the grave. She died just after this post, meaning Sheila Jackson Lee. So I mentioned her earlier tonight. So we have some pretty interesting things that I post and then retweet on there, the Diamond RPRT on Twitter X. And then, of course, you guys can find me on YouTube. If you're not already on there, please subscribe. It's growing very slowly. But like I always say, I'll get 1 or 2 subscribers or 3 or 4 subscribers, and they'll take 1 or 2 off. So I do think it's that, though, versus people unsubscribing from what I'm hearing. So who knows? So that's where you can find me on YouTube, and then Rumble, Diamond Disc on Rumble and BitChute, and also Brighteon. It's another good platform. And make sure you join the band group. And again, put the feelers out there for Verba Homefront. They need some help. So, and you can contact them through the band group. So band.us at the Diamond Report is where it is. So got a good group of people in there sharing information, and you can get in there and chat amongst yourselves if you want. And I think that's always a neat thing to do, to be able to stay in touch with each other. And never forget that we're watching the Roman Empire collapse again, but this time we have Wi-Fi and memes. On that note, hope you guys have a really great week. Hope it's a blessed one. Keep me in your prayers. I'll keep you guys in my prayers as well. And we will see what happens. We'll see what this week brings. So we'll do it again next week, which is going to be the, 28th? So we will catch you guys then. Love you all. Blessings to you all. And we'll see you again very soon.